So, we are here today with Abraham. Say hi, Abraham.
Hello.
You're supposed to say hi. You're supposed to say hi, Abraham.
Oh, hi, Abraham. Okay.
That way the corny joke is completed. Anyways,
I got you.
we are here today to work on Abraham's foot and ankle integrity, structural integrity of those two joints. We're going to do a little series with Abe because, a little bit behind the scenes, a lot of the fitness videos that we all watch are focused more on the external, very obviously seen stuff. Big muscles, abs, all that kind of stuff. Huge weights in the squat, the bench, the deadlift, things of that nature. But most people aren't at that level. They watch those videos aspiring to be like those people, but yet here's Abe, a guy who's capable of all those things, and he still has these foundational issues to work on.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of hack apart some different things maybe he can do a little bit better with. We're going to look at his nutrition. We're going to look at some of his blood work tests, ironically enough. But today we're going to be even simpler, more foundational than that. We're going to look at the feet and ankles. He's a guy who can move a whole bunch of weight, but if things go awry at that joint, they are literally the way you interact with the world.
Yeah.
The only thing's making contact with the ground at any given time, so if things don't go too well there's going to have a chain effect, probably in the knees, the hips, the spine, all these sorts of things. So just a kind of classic example of if you're a new lifter, take the time, don't make the mistake Abe did in that he kind of got really big and strong but forgot about some of those core pieces. Focus on the core pieces as you're beginning your journey of getting big and strong, so you don't have to have the patience that he's now has to summon to go back and fix these issues, even though you feel like you've progressed past it. All right, so Abe's going to get, usually do a high bar squat or a low bar squat?
I do a high bar.
All right, so stick with a high bar then. And stipulation, as you go down into the squat, you take a step forward. You want to squat in a way that all those 3 points of contact we talked about in regards to your foot position stay on the ground. So they're going to be the base of your big toe, the base of your pinky toe, and your heel. So no matter what that means, up the chain, whatever you have to do with your knees, your torso, all that kind of stuff, do that with knowing that the objective here is to keep all 3 points of contact on the ground. Okay. Go ahead and squat. Okay, keep going. So there's two things. You can keep going as I describe what's going on. You'll notice that the knee is having a little bit of a valgus collapse. So his knees aren't quite pointing in the same direction as his toes at the bottom of the squat. You'll also notice too he's getting a little bit of heel lift off of the ground. In addition, we're getting a little bit of movement in the lumbar spine here. Not a full butt wing, but we're definitely getting a little bit of motion, and we're getting a lot of forward torso lean as a result. All of that is emanating as a result of the overpronation. You can see he's kind of searching for that foot position there. This is somebody that, even though he's a big, strong guy, he's capable of squatting a lot of weight under perfect circumstances. We have to work on circumstances first, because right now this is a pattern that would probably cause injury at some point if you were to load the weight a lot more than he is right now. So you could finish up with this last one. Walk on back and relax. So, next objective, we talked a little bit about corrective exercises that you can use specifically to work on the issue of pronation in any sort of lower body strength training. It could be a squat variation, a deadlift variation, what have you. If we have that pronation problem that we saw during Abe's barbell back squat, then it's probably manifesting itself in lots of different, potentially negative ways. So we're going to show a couple of different exercises we can use to perhaps slowly go about correcting that imbalance. So unfortunately for Abe, that involves him taking off his shoes.
I hate it.
And revealing his mutant feet to the rest of the internet. So why don't you go ahead and do that?
You're right. So I'm gonna do this for y'all. I love them. That's why I'm gonna do it.
So, as you will now see these creations that we call Abraham's feet, they are exceptionally flat. There's some bones here that I didn't think existed in most feet. This, whatever, what's going on here. But anywho, this, whether or not does being flat-footed run in your family?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so there could be a genetic component to this. We're not going to be able probably to fix that, but can we improve what we have to the point where you're able to not pronate quite so much during the squat? More than likely, yes.
Okay.
So the first variation we're going to have you do is actually something I learned from Joel Seidman. You guys, I think his gym is called Advanced Human Performance. You guys can check that out on Google, the YouTubes, and all that. All we're going to have you do, he calls these, I think, just ankle rollouts or press outs. So at his natural standing position, just be natural. Don't try to artificially stand any which way. You'll see a subtle flare of his toes. That's usually coupled with flat-footedness.
Okay.
And it's kind of allowing you to lose that natural arch in the foot and really exacerbate that pronation problem.
Okay.
So let's correct that, but it's going to feel like you're being pigeon-toed when we ask you to get into this position.
Okay.
Let's have you point your toes perfectly straight ahead. And do you feel like you're pigeon-toed just by doing that?
Yeah, I do. I feel that all right here and right here. I feel like my feet are actually going like this.
Yes.
But my knees are going like that.
Yes. So
Yeah.
valgus knees, aka knocked knees, are also
Okay.
something that are usually coupled along with this pronation problem.
Okay.
So as you go into this press out, you actually may feel some tension building up in the knee joint. So just be mindful of that.
Okay.
Now, what we're going to have you do is really press the outside edges of your feet. Yes. Put all that pressure there. Maybe not quite so extreme. Right about there looks pretty reasonable. And what I want you to do is, as you maintain that outside pressure, think about pressing the base of your pinky toe into the ground. And as you continue to do so, also press the base of your big toe down into the ground.
Ooh,
yes.
Sweet baby Jesus.
Just like that. You can see we're revealing some semblance of an arch here, and keep them pressed. Keep them absolutely pressed.
I'll turn a little bit for the camera.
Okay, there you go. But go ahead and do both feet at the same time as well. Yep, perfectly forward, even more forward, yep. So you're gonna press the base of your big toe and the base of your pinky toe down into the ground simultaneously, all the way down.
You see how hard it is? This thing is, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and you're a guy who deadlifts what, in the 400-pound range?
Yeah, I could do about 400 or 500.
But yet, all we're doing is asking you to maintain this
Yeah.
arch, and you can see how difficult that becomes.
Yeah, that's just hard.
You're also gonna feel like your knees are really excessively pointing outside of
Yeah.
your, even though they're pointing in the same direction of your toes. You're a guy who typically has a knocked knee position, right?
Yeah.
So this also is going to manifest itself in manipulating that as well. So really the two joints in question here are going to be the ankle joint. You can see we're not collapsing that arch anymore. Now let go to see what's significant. Yeah. You can see the amount, it's almost an inch of space that was covered
Like
there.
literally air cannot pass through that.
Yes, that is airtight.
That is airtight.
Now repoint your toes.
Repoint my toes?
Yep, perfectly forward. You can see how you kind of went back into that flared toe position.
Yeah.
So make sure they're forward. They're still a little bit. There you go. And now press on the outside edges once more. This is your second rep. Now press the bases of your big toe back into the ground.
Ah, man.
If you can. Even more. And you probably even feel some tension too in the glutes, because the glutes are externally rotating that
I feel
femur
it,
bone.
yeah, I feel it in my hips.
Okay.
I feel it in my hips.
The glutes firing will externally rotate that femur bone and bring the knees out to be
Yeah.
stacked over, which also is going to help you maintain that arch. So
This thing is, I'm trying to stand straight up too. Ooh, I feel like, how do you stay balanced? Like with this?
practice
Okay.
and getting stronger. It's
Okay.
it's not something. This is we're really working a lot of really tiny bits of musculature within the ankle capsule itself right now. So this isn't something you can really like linearly progress. You're not going to add a weight to this.
Okay.
And yeah, we're going to move on to the second one whenever you're ready.
Yep, so I'm ready. Whenever.
So now a progression from the rollouts that we were having Abraham do previous to this. This is really a nice way to then, aren't really exercises that you're going to load up. Obviously you're not trying to do this with any sort of added weight in the form of a barbell. But one thing we can do is prompt a little bit of instability by getting just a med ball involved, just a light med ball. So what we're going to do is have him now make this into a unilateral exercise and have him balancing and holding that ankle rollout position on one foot at a time while the other one is elevated. So just pick a side, any side.
All right, so I'm gonna do my left side. So
Okay, that's
I
the
got
one that seems to be even more flat, so let's go with that one.
I never noticed that. All right. So again, so how do you do it again?
So you're gonna press the base of your pinky toe really
Okay.
hard and really kind of just press that hard into the ground and really put the pressure on the outside edge of your foot, just like you're doing. That's pretty
Okay.
good. You can see how everything starts to straighten out here. It seems just a little bit more aligned in that collapsed position. And then we're also gonna drive the base of that big toe into the ground simultaneously. And the pain face you're making makes me think that you're probably starting to feel all that stuff.
I'm starting
together.
to feel it.
And now what you're gonna do, and this is gonna be tough. You may not, again,
I'm trying my hardest to stay up straight.
this is a progression, so Abraham's probably not actually ready to do this, but since it's so low risk and by nature, it's something we can at least demonstrate. What you're gonna do is on that opposite foot, just kind of straighten it out, really kind of plantar flex your ankle there. There you go. Excuse me, dorsal flex your ankle. And all we're gonna do is you're gonna have to, so even by elevating that opposite foot, you saw Abe's ankle start to really collapse, but really kind of focus on that left foot, keeping that rollout position.
Okay.
And from here, all we're going to do is prompt a little bit of instability by tossing Abe the med ball.
Okay, so we're gonna catch the med ball. Woo, good guy.
Yep, so we see just, they did the inclusion of the med ball, and you're going to throw it back. You see all sorts of bobbing and weaving going on here. These are just, you know, it's probably something I wouldn't be doing if you were a client of mine, but just for the sake of demonstrating what a progression from that rollout would look like. It would look like this, the inclusion of a little bit of instability on top of trying to maintain that position. Maintain the stability
Woo.
of it.
I got it.
There you go.
I'm about to fall over. No, I'm not. Ooh.
And-
I feel my, it's like burning.
So,
I feel it all like in the calf area too with that.
oh yes, you know, there are, if anybody really wanted to geek out on foot and ankle training and kind of, if you have a problem with that area and you think it might be the root cause of some of your issues with barbell training, why your back may continue to flare up, while, you know, you may have some hip problems, maybe a impinged hip. FAI is something that's really common, femoral acetabular impingement, which is basically when you get that pinching sensation in the front of your hip at the bottom of the squat. A lot of that starts, or at least originates from the foot and ankle joint being a little bit overly pronated. You get the people who are overly supinated, which would be really heavy on the outside edge, but obviously that's not something we have going on with you here today.
Okay.
You're definitely an overpronate.
Okay, so I got a lot of work to do.
Yes, and unfortunately it's kind of, you know, we talked about not loading these exercises. These aren't exercises you're going to take through a linear progression, just like you would a squat. You know, a squat is something where you start with the barbell and you add 5-10 pounds a week, you know, and then you start using rotating percentages, try to expose yourself to progressively heavier and more challenging weights.
Okay.
It's not really something you can do with foot and ankle training, but it's just as important. So what you can do is, you know, I'm not saying that just doing these couple exercises that are very low in intensity are going to magically fix your ankles.
Okay.
But one thing they have the potential to do is at least teach you what a rooted foot,
Okay.
which is the base of your big toe, the base of your pinky toe, and your heel,
Okay.
all being really solidly pressed against the ground. That's gonna, doing these things are gonna familiarize yourself not only with what that feels like, but how to get into that position repetitively. So now you can check in on yourself as you're squatting, deadlifting, overhead pressing, things of that nature.
Okay.
And then that is how you're going to end up loading these things. So if you can maintain some semblance of a foot arch when you're deadlifting your 400 or 500 pounds, you know for certain that you've strengthened those regions of your musculature. Whereas right now, there's no hope you'd be able to do that.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of one way that it's going to be a non-linear progression.
Okay.
But you know, this will teach you positions to be mindful of as you're going into your heavier training.
Okay, appreciate it, Corey. Thank you, man.
Yeah, no problem.